You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows, visit electronicmediacollective.com.
Is that what we're supposed to do?
Now we're calling Trump supporters, or I guess just specifically MAGA people, like maggers. And
Maggers, okay.
maggots, and all that other stuff. Because we're magism now. We're magus.
Yeah.
You know, if they could be
But-
racist, we could be magist.
So Stallone, I thought he did a decent job in it, but
Yeah, I mean,
it's a shame he's a magger.
Tulsa King, like, from what I watched, it's not like a bad show. I've heard good things about it. I've heard people are enjoying it. I've enjoyed it so far because it just feels like it kind of just feels like a classic, gangster.
It's not really
Italian
classic gangster at all, though. It's a unique take on it.
That's why I said it feels like a classic
I see.
gangster.
Okay.
Read my words, libtard. God, you don't listen to facts, do you?
I just cannot get past Taylor Sheridan's writing. It is just, it's kind of like,
It's serviceable.
no, he loves when bad guys. Well, first of all, there's never any good guys in his shows. They're like two different factions of bad guys, and you have to choose which group of. Well, actually, you don't get to choose. You're told which group of bad guys you like, and then you have to root for those bad guys to do evil things to the other bad guys.
Yeah.
And that always happens. Like, there's supposedly this rival group of bad guys who they just get murdered in horrible, awful ways. And the good bad guys always, win. And always have everything turn out roses. And I don't like that. For instance, Sylvester Stallone's character in Tulsa King should be in prison for the rest of his. He's out on parole, and he's just beating these people in this small town. I guess Tulsa's not that small of a town, but in freaking Oklahoma, he's beating these people. He should be in jail.
No, you're right. That would make for an excellent mobster show. The first time he beats somebody up, he gets tossed right in the clinker for another 10 years. That would
In real life, that's what happens.
You fixed TV. Why make it unbelievable and fantastical? Let's just make it real. When keeping it real goes wrong.
Don't want to root for bad people. I've done it before.
You watch Game of Thrones.
Yes. And I feel like the people I rooted for in Game of Thrones were that bad. I didn't
They're not
root.
that bad. They're not that bad.
What did Jon Snow? He was the most decent guy. What did Ned Stark? He was the most decent guy. I liked the Starks. They were cool. The rest of them they all sucked. And they all got their comeuppance too.
But you're talking about this in the real world, he would get his comeuppance, he would get arrested, blah, 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 blah.
He would.
In this universe, in the reality that we live in right now, Scott, aren't there a number of people that should be in prison that aren't, that are just walking free?
Yeah,
that are
some
just
of
doing
them are
whatever
sitting
they
in the
are?
White House. Actually,
I'm
let's
just
be
saying.
honest, they're playing golf in Mar-a-Lago. Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just saying, you're in real world, he wouldn't, probably not, actually. Probably not.
He does the same thing with Yellowstone. And everybody jerks off to that show. And I've watched it. And I'm like, these people that you like so much suck. I've seen the TikToks and the Facebook advertisements for some trashy white woman supposed to buy a shirt, order it online from Temu, that said, "Don't make me go Beth Dutton on you," or something like that. I'm like, she's a horrible, terrible person. You're worshiping this bad person.
Spoiler alert, Scott. Just so we're keeping our
I know what you're going to say.
crossing our T's and dotting our I's.
Damn it.
Just so that we're keeping straight of things. I got a secret I got to tell you.
Here we go.
Guys don't really turn into gigantic red muscle-bound things that can leap tall buildings and punch anything at once. Hulks aren't real, Scott. That's not a real thing.
Wait, they turned red now?
They do now.
I know they do.
They do now.
They do now.
Hulks are not a real thing, Scott. Hulks don't exist. That wouldn't really happen in your favorite universe that ever existed.
And I've acknowledged that comic book universes aren't real. That's my problem. They're making if Yellowstone was set as a period piece, as a western from back in the 1850s, then I'd say okay, because that was the Wild West. Everything was lawless and you just got away with stuff. But it is set in the 2020s, Adam. There are laws. You can't do that. You can't pull that shit off. You can't just dump people's body over a cliff and wash your hands.
It happens all the time.
And
People are murdered all the time,
and they do crime podcasts about it.
And they know, and the criminals are never found all the time. If anything, this is the most realistic show that's ever existed.
I would argue that they get caught more often than they don't.
The ones you hear about, they don't tell you about the ones they don't catch.
Oh, listen to you.
They don't tell you about those ones.
We should have put the Unsolved Mysteries theme on. Did we say that before? This is the second time now.
Yeah.
I'll give it the. No, but not a Taylor Sheridan fan.
That's fine.
You know what I get vibes of? And we've talked about this in nauseum on this show. And I know you hate bringing this up again because it's beating a dead horse. The show The Walking Dead. You and I loved that show. You got off that train at the right time. I feel like I stayed on board.
That's another thing, Scott. Dead bodies don't get up.
They sure don't.
And they don't come back to life.
They
and they
sure
don't. Hunt
don't.
Down the rest of the human
But
dregs.
you can turn your brain off and treat something like it's fiction. They are, what are they, Adam?
Fictional characters.
Fictional characters.
Left a little doodly.
Yeah.
They're
Fictional characters.
it's perfect. Yeah. But we had that whole it's the same people buying the Beth Dutton shirts that were like, if they kill off Daryl, I'm never watching it again. Remember how mad that made us?
Yeah.
Like yes, he's a character. Yes,
I get he's a beloved character. I get it.
I mean, he makes white trash women totally soaking wet.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like he totally did. But that's like.
But in real life, he's a good guy, though. That dude's a real good guy.
Norman Reedus?
Yeah.
Do you know him?
I've heard nothing but good things.
I have too. I'm going to be honest.
Good things.
Boondock Saints kicks ass. Mm-hmm. How good of a movie is Boondock Saints?
He was in Blade 2.
He was in Blade 2.
He was, yeah.
Wait.
He was.
I'm thinking of what Blade 3 was unfortunate, right?
Blade 3 is when they fought Dracula. That's when Ryan Reynolds was in it.
Yeah, that one was unfortunate. Was that Trinity?
Guess what? Blade 2 is kind of unfortunate too.
But Blade 2 was bad too?
It wasn't good.
I can't remember. They're all blurring together for me. But I feel like I did like the first Blade.
But yeah, that's good.
Okay. That one was good?
Yeah.
Is that the one with Steven Dorff? He was the villain?
What, First Blade?
Yeah.
Whoever played Deacon Frost, I don't know the
That's
dude's name.
Steven Dorff.
I don't know the dude's name.
Oh, I know. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'm
not familiar.
You do an entertainment podcast.
I've never had the pleasure of meeting Steven Dorff. So.
But you know about Norman Reedus.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I say,
cool dude.
I say fuck Taylor Sheridan. I don't like his
That's fine.
content.
That's fine. You
and
don't
guess
have
what?
to like
I'm still gonna watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why I do it because I do an entertainment podcast. That's why.
That's a nice cheeky excuse.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm gonna do. I don't know why. Hey, we're back.
Yeah, we don't do introductions anymore for the most part. I'm Adam, by the way. This is Scott. His name is.
That's Adam. I'm Scott.
Yeah.
We do a little show.
A
little ditty. Not P Diddy though.
About Jack and Diane. Where's that soundbite? Where's that soundbite?
Yeah, we're slipping. You took all the songs off it.
It's all sound effects, dude. It's a soundboard.
Yeah, that's some.
You got 2 songs, and that's the intro and the outro, and the rest of it's just sounds.
Yeah. So, we had a big sporting event.
Yeah.
Not the Super Bowl. We already talked about that.
What a segue, right?
We
Almost
talked
like
about
I've been doing it for 10 years. That's a clean segue.
Yeah, we're still a work in progress, folks.
So what happened recently, Scott? Anything big happen in the news? Izzy wants to know.
I got to tell you, Adam, my sports illiterate friend, I'm gonna learn you. I'm gonna learn you good.
I wouldn't say I'm sports illiterate. I'm just a little dyslexic. That's all.
Whatever.
That's all.
I don't want to shame anyone, but I'm a big sports guy. And this week we had what was called the Four Nations tournament. Did you watch any of it?
I watched.
Do you know what the Four Nations tournament is?
It's a big game, is what it is.
Ooh, see, it's not a game. It's multiple games. In fact, it's a tournament.
It's a big game that encompasses
Several games?
multiple games. I was getting there, and you interrupted
It's
me.
a big tournament that encompasses multiple games. I gotta correct you for the people. I don't want to be fact checked later
You didn't
on.
let me finish. That's all. You interrupted me. You didn't let me
is what I
finish.
deal with,
I don't
folks.
want to talk anymore. You explain it, Scott. I don't
All
want
right.
to talk anymore.
This Four Nations tournament. It's actually a new thing. Just happened this year, and it was spectacular. It took the place of the NHL All-Star Game. Love hockey. Hockey is probably my second favorite sport next to football.
He's great.
Love hockey. I played hockey in college and high school. I love hockey. So they started this new thing because the All-Star game was kind of getting stale, that they took four nations, hence the name. United States, Canada, Finland, and Sweden. And they took those four teams. They took NHL players from those four countries.
Is that the Bork countries? Bork.
This
Bork,
Scandinavian countries,
yeah.
yes.
Bork.
I mean, I don't. Is that inappropriate? Is that?
It was on Muppets. Of course,
Yeah,
it's not inappropriate.
the Swedish chef.
Yeah,
Yes,
bork,
I'm
bork,
familiar.
bork, bork, bork,
I'm
bork,
familiar.
bork, bork. If
Anyway,
you're offended, blame Jim Henson. Don't blame me. He made the character.
I think Henson is a Swedish name, so he's allowed to do that.
Yeah, so he's a self-racist, I guess. That's all it was.
It's like you're allowed to talk. I'm neither here nor there. We're too damn woke. What does woke mean? That's another podcast.
Hey, if you guys know what woke means, let us know.
Shoot us
We
an
don't
email.
know.
So the Four Nations tournament happened. It was so fun. It was so entertaining. Every game was so close. So the United States and Canada, they played in the seeding round, I guess you call it, the early rounds, and you knew what your boy Trump has been saying about Canada, right?
Oh, yeah, he's talking about the 51st state, right?
He wants to make Canada the 51st state, which is laughable. Laughable.
Did you see what they posted? Side note, did you see what they posted on the official White House Instagram? You see that shit? They posted.
I don't follow the White House on Instagram.
Okay, but I don't either. But I saw what they posted because everybody's talking about it. They posted an AI image of Trump wearing a crown, and it says "Long live the king."
I did see that.
Yeah.
I did see that. I
They
didn't know
posted
what
on
you were talking about.
From what I understand, on the official White House
Long live the king.
Instagram. Yeah.
I also saw that he was tweeting stuff about Canada, and he was calling President Trudeau, the president of Canada, he was calling him Governor Trudeau.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of fucking funny. I'm not gonna lie. Like I don't give Trump too much props, but that made
If there's
me
anybody
chuckle.
that knows how
That
to,
made me chuckle.
If there's anybody that knows how to be a hater out there and knows how to stir the pot, it's Trump.
Oh, for sure. But things that will never happen for 500, Alex. Canada's never become part of the United States.
No.
We had one war with them way back in the day, and we got our asses kicked. They burned down the White House. I don't know if you remember that.
I've heard
Canada
about that.
destroyed us pretty
No, that
hard.
was fake news. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
That's
well,
propaganda. That never happened.
Were you around in 1812?
I didn't have to be around to know that America's the best.
So an interesting thing happened, though. As Trump's saying all this stuff about Canada, the United States was playing against Canada in a seeding round in Montreal, in Quebec. And they're doing the national anthems. They obviously play this one first.
Yup.
And then they followed it up with the Star Spangled Banner, Adam.
Yeah.
The Canadian fans relentlessly booed the
I saw
national.
that,
Did you
yeah.
see that?
I did
Star
see that.
Spangled Banner. And I could do nothing but smile. Here I am, a red-blooded American patriot, hearing boos rain down from our neighbors to the Great White North when they're singing the Star Spangled Banner.
And I'm like,
And I'm just like,
yeah, I get it.
I mean,
get it.
I get it. I get it. The game happened, and 3 fights, not 1, not 2, but 3 fights happened in the first 9 seconds of the game. And I got to be honest, what other sport allows fighting other than like actual fighting, like boxing, wrestling,
nothing.
UFC? Hockey, like they just straight up let you square up and have a Donnybrook right there on the ice,
Yeah.
like throwing knucks. And then when it's done, you go sit in the boo box for 5 minutes, and then you come back out and play.
You go sit in
like,
timeout.
hockey is awesome. Like, you can do that. I love that.
It's like if your parents
To the boo box.
It's like if your parents like caught you guys fighting, they would just let you duke it out, and then they just send you to timeout. That's what
Yeah.
it is. That's all it is.
So the game happened. The fights happened. It was such a good game. The United States won 3-1, and Trump was just talking shit. Everything. Well, this is a tournament, so tournaments aren't like the Super Bowl where it's one game and one winner. You got to play every team once, and there's just seeding rounds. Well, went to the championship, and the United States and Canada played again. And I'm watching this game, and this time the game's in Boston, Massachusetts.
Boston.
So U.S. is hosting now, and I'm watching this game, and again, American dude, born and raised. I have papers, Ice. If you want to check them, I do. And I am finding myself rooting for Canada, Adam. Am I wrong?
No, not in
But
this.
I am American. Shouldn't I be rooting for my country?
You're also Pennsylvania. You didn't root for Philadelphia, so I didn't think that ship has sailed. Doesn't matter.
Listen to him.
No, I don't think you're wrong. I was definitely hoping that United States wouldn't have won that.
Sidney Crosby is captain of Team Canada. He is my favorite player. He plays for my beloved Pittsburgh Penguins, so I'm really rooting for him. And everything that Trump has been doing, well, guess what happened in that game, the championship game? Went to overtime.
Womp, womp.
Went to overtime. And Canada wins the gold. They defeat the Americans. God bless Canada.
Yeah, I was watching like after videos of like people that were recording themselves, like hyper patriots recording themselves watching that, and then when they announced Canada won, and when the game was over, it was just them sitting on the chair like staring off into space in like disbelief that America didn't win.
I'll tell you what, I'm glad for many reasons that it turned out that way, but one of the big ones is because of everything going on with Trump and Trudeau and Canada and the United States, and during all this political turmoil, this tournament had to happen right in the midst of it. So all these maggers decided they've never watched a single game of hockey in their life, and they decide that because Trump's involved and it's Canada, all these maggers got interested in hockey all of a sudden. No. You don't get to watch hockey. You can have NASCAR. You can keep it.
You went to Daytona.
You can have that.
Yeah.
I'll concede. I'll concede that you can have NASCAR, but you are not taking hockey from me. I refuse to lose. And thank God they're fair weather fans, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't they weren't storming the arena after they lost, but that might have been next on the docket. Who knows? But go back to your holes wherever you maggers come from and enjoy your own weird sports.
Oh, you didn't hear the hockey game was rigged. You didn't hear about
Yeah.
that? It's rigged. It was rigged. It's always
So-
rigged against America.
All I know is it was a great game. It was a great tournament. Hats off. And then I hear people complaining, well, it's a four nations tournament. How come Russia wasn't one of the four nations? Russia's got a lot of good hockey players. Russia, I believe, is banned
Yeah.
from a lot of international things for more reasons than one. They hosted the Sochi Olympic Games back, geez, how long ago was that? 2014 now? It was a long time ago. And they got caught for some serious cheating. They were doping, and so they were banned for that. And then all of a sudden they invade Ukraine, which everybody in the world...
Hold on, wait. No, according to our illustrious president, Ukraine started the war with Russia. According to our leader of our nation, they started the war. Scott.
I heard, like, how? By just being there? How did Ukraine start the war?
They started it. They just started it, man.
They didn't.
Yeah, they just started it.
They did not start.
Russia
invaded
Russia's
them.
innocent in all this. Putin's a great leader. He's innocent on this.
Russia
is
broke a
victim.
treaty.
Russia's
They
a victim.
broke a treaty and invaded a sovereign nation.
Well, they should have tried to join the UN. That was part of the agreement, right? They shouldn't. They were, Ukraine's trying to join the UN. That was
But
part
they
of the
didn't
agreement.
join the. There was just they didn't join the UN.
That was part of the agreement, though, is that they couldn't, and then they were vying
Because
to
they
join the
didn't.
UN. Like that, but that was part of the agreement, right?
Yes.
I'm trying to say it wasn't.
was.
It wasn't part of the agreement.
It wasn't?
No, from what I think the treaty in question, which I can't remember the name of the treaty. It's blanking on the name.
I thought it was in there.
I've heard both things. Take with a grain of salt. I'm being very sarcastic about this, but I've heard both ways. I've heard it most recently. People that have been studying are like, it doesn't actually say that because Ukraine is like a sovereign nation. Like they can't just they just can't put there in the the whatever memorandum or whatever it was called.
Yeah, I forget what it's called too.
That's what I've heard. Take it with a grain of salt. I got to read it myself. I haven't gotten around to doing it. I've been a little busy, you know.
Worky work, busy bee.
Yeah, I've been doing things. But I'm gonna have some free time coming up. I'm gonna look further into it. But yeah, that's the new thing. Ukraine started the war. Russia didn't start the war. You know, just because they found however many years ago this really big natural deposit of fuel that they could be mined in Ukraine. That's got nothing to do with why Russia all of a sudden has taken a big interest. Why they want to take Ukraine.
I think Putin wants to be the Soviet Union again, to be honest with you.
I think he is the Soviet Union, just without the name.
Well, those little countries like Belarus and Ukraine and a couple of those other ones, they were part of the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
Some of the stands, right? Some of the stands. I can never remember all the stands.
My recent history is a little scattered.
Kazakh and Uzbeka and Turkmena, you know them?
Yeah, I know.
Stan
I know
brothers?
of them.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I know of them. Yeah. But like as to part of which ones were part of that and when they broke off, I do not know. That I'm not strong with that.
Early 90s, right?
I was playing with freaking
Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I was playing Ninja Turtles.
Say
then,
Ninja Turtles. That's
more,
always the
I was
answer.
more worried about Krang than I was about what's going on with Russia.
You were more worried about Krang than Putin.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had other things on my mind that decade. I'm sorry.
Tonight I dine on turtle soup. All right. So, yeah, we don't allow Russia in there, and screw them. They don't win anyway.
No. Fuck them.
They're not even beating Ukraine in this war.
No, they're not. That's what's wild.
It's kind of wild. It reminds me of, like, when the big bad United States said, oh, what's this little country of Vietnam going to do?
Yeah.
They're just a bunch of farmers, and we're just going to go in here and wreck shop and be out of here in a couple months. What happened What happened?
We lost. It was a loss.
Yeah.
No matter what they say, it was a loss. That's what it was. We lost that conflict. Sorry, not sorry.
One of the biggest, like, I think if you're ranking upsets, like, forget Eagles, Chiefs, like, I'm going Vietnam over U.S.
Yeah, that was a bad one.
That's a big upset. That's one for the books.
Like now the whole thing is like they're blaming Zelensky because like, see, he's a dictator. He didn't hold elections. He didn't allow elections to happen. Blah blah blah. And it's like, if you're a country, a sovereign country that is being currently invaded by a much larger neighboring country, and people are dying, buildings are getting blown up, and you're basically like fighting on the front lines constantly. Maybe, you know, you kind of push the elections just a little bit.
I don't know, man, because Roosevelt had elections during World War II.
Okay, but
freaking Lincoln had elections during the Civil freaking war, dude.
But do you understand how different that is for Roosevelt and World War II? We didn't do any fighting over here.
Tell that to Hawaii.
There was no fighting. They ran.
That's clearly fighting.
What I'm saying is they ran one attack and then they fucked off, and that was it. That was it. It's not like it's not like the California coast. It's not like the Japanese were storming at like fucking Normandy or whatever.
There were German U-boats all over the Gulf for your distraction. They were in there all day, hanging out.
They weren't on land. They weren't invading the
you have to be on land now.
Yes, land.
Tell that to the Navy fighters who fought their entire... Tell that to my dead grandpa who fought on a ship that did not touch land.
Gotta be on land.
No, Adam, you can
for it to be an invasion of your country, it's got to be on land.
There was fighting in the Americas, just not at the scale it was in Europe or Asia. How about that?
What battles took place in America besides
Pearl Harbor?
Yeah. Name a single one.
There were plenty of attacks off the coast. German U-boats. Google me, Chuck. Google me. We're live. I'm not
denying that, but like it's not like they invaded the coast and they stormed the beaches of Florida or anything like that. It's not like they were down at Myrtle Beach storming the beaches.
So you want a Red Dawn? Basically, a war is not a war till we get Red Dawn.
No, to be a country that's being invaded. Yes,
I never said being invaded.
I did. I said invasion. Ukraine is fighting an invasion of they were being invaded. And I said that the difference between the United States and World War II is we were never invaded.
What about sovereign territory on other continents? What about embassies or military bases?
No.
That is U.S. soil.
No.
Those were attacked, clearly.
I'm not saying they weren't attacked. I'm not saying that.
Is that not U.S. soil?
That's not an invasion of your country.
It's an invasion of... Oh, my God. I wish I was more of a history buff than I was, because I'm not going to take the time to Google it. But you're wrong. You're wrong,
what I'm
my
going to say
friend.
is, it is an attack. If you attack an embassy, that is a direct attack on America, but that's not an invasion of your country.
I want to say a couple things happened, and to our history friends out there, please correct me if I'm wrong. I believe there was an attack on Alaska and the Aleutian Islands by the Japanese. There was actually a letter intercepted from Adolf Hitler to the president of Mexico asking Mexico to join the Axis powers. Fortunately, we intercepted it and it didn't get there. But he wanted Mexico, and he's basically like, I'll give you Texas back. That was a thing. Google it. There was fighting happening here. Most of it was in the water. Because think about it. I think it was a Japanese general who said, we cannot invade the United States because we'll be having guns shot at us from every tree, from every bush. Like that was a famous quote. Yeah. Which that's what happens here. Yes.
So this from Wikipedia. Generally, invasions have objectives of conquering, liberating, or reestablishing control or authority over a territory, forcing the partition of a country, altering the established government, or gaining concessions from said government, or a combination thereof. That is the Wikipedia definition for what an invasion is. And we all know Wikipedia is like the bee's knees, right? See, he can't talk while he's Googling.
There is, yeah, I know, that's why. All right, the Battle of Attu was a battle fought in North America. It was in Alaska and the Aleutian Islands. And it was a land battle, but it was the only land battle other than Pearl Harbor, which at the time was not a state. It didn't become a state till the 50s, but it was a territory, so part of the United States. So there was a land battle. I thought it was just plains, but on Attu Island in Alaska. Boom.
Was it like 5 people fighting 5 other people?
I don't care if it was 1v1. It's still a battle. Jeez, you wouldn't be happy unless you had another Stalingrad happening in freaking Harrisburg or something.
I mean, it'd be nice.
Christ.
Yeah, then we could say we were properly invaded, you know?
Dude, we just got invaded the roundabout way, okay? They still got us, but they just did it the Manchurian Candidate way, okay?
Yeah, unfortunately, you know. But hey, the revolution is going to happen. The revolution is going to happen.
You, my bright-eyed, bushy-tailed
revolution
friend.
is going to happen, is what it is. That's what's going to happen. Did you see any of the videos of like all the town hall meetings that were going on this past week?
I have. I've seen them, yes.
And like a lot of the representatives were like taken to hand by the people that were like wanting to ask questions, but they were dodging questions. And there's just a lot of people yelling at them, be like, no, you, like, fuck you. Like, do you know how like every single time you see one of these town hall meetings and then somebody asks them a question and they just kind of shirk it off and they like double talk their way out of giving an answer and they give you a non-answer and then they just kind of like move on and then that's it. That's changed. That's not what's going on right now. One of the big ones, Rich McCormick, representative out of Georgia. He had a town hall recently amongst a bunch of representatives, and there's been numerous videos out there of most of the questions that he was asked. The big one was the SAVE Act that the Trump started to push forward, which part of that involves the voter ID stuff. and basically saying that your identification, like your driver's license, stuff like that, has to match your birth name. Otherwise, you're not considered valid. And there was a lot of women there that were asking the question, like, okay, question, based on all this stuff, doesn't that mean that any woman in this country that married somebody and changed their last name because their legal name is different from their birth certificate, doesn't that like take away their right to vote? Doesn't that like basically like drop their vote off the map? And it was like a bunch of, and they were like asked questions going through it. And then he started giving like this double talk answer. And like 2 seconds into the answer, everybody was like, he's bullshitting. And it was just a bunch of screams. Like basically nobody was cursing, but they were basically like, shut the fuck up. You're not answering the goddamn question. Like,
Adam would have cursed if he was there.
Oh yeah, I would have.
We know that. We know that.
But it was
we've listened to the podcast.
It was a room for like older white people mostly. And they were like, they started screaming shame like they did in Game of Thrones. Shame, shame, shame. Oh, there's a couple comments.
Why is this so small? We got comments down there.
Hold on, let me see if I'm gonna see if I can increase that. But it was a lot of
I just realized we had some comments. We suck. We're supposed to answer these live, Adam.
I'm not wearing my glasses, so I can't even read them.
I can't read that. Can you make it bigger?
I don't know how
Sorry,
to do
we
it
got
on
a
the
new
fly.
setup here.
I don't want to do it on the fly.
On the fly.
Hold on.
What's your job again?
Okay, shut up.
I had to stop and Google to prove you wrong.
From
Oh my
Crappy
God.
Donut.
Oh my God.
Yo, I finally caught y'all live. It's a shame they're booing, but I literally can't blame them. So he's talking about
Yeah.
That was way back when.
That was way back. Sorry, we
apologies. It's usually not this small.
Yeah, I can usually read it.
All right, fucker. Goddamn. One fucking mess up on a new system is like, God, you suck at your job.
I never said that, Adam.
God.
Sounds like you feel some inequities within yourself. You need to talk to someone. Or we could talk to all of our fans. There. Oh,
I can pop it out, so it's a little better. There, it's popped out. On the fly.
That's better.
I figured it out.
That's better. Good job.
You're welcome. Bitch.
All right, so if you guys want to comment live, please do it. Check us out.
But that's mainly what I want to say.
I mean,
there's been and it's not like that was the only one. There were other representatives that are also getting the shit. Governor in another state, I can't remember which state, she was getting the shit because a veteran was like basically asking her a question like, okay, or no, I don't think she was. She might have been a governor or a congresswoman, but the veteran was asking the question like, hey, all this shit that's going on in the country, like I'm a veteran, I volunteered, like I took the same oath you took to defend the country and defend the Constitution with my life. Like we basically took the same oaths. Like I'm doing what I can. Why aren't you fighting for us? Like why aren't you out there? And she was basically trying to retort, like, well, what do you want me to do? Blah, blah. He's like, I want you to get arrested. I want you to do your job. All right, if you get arrested, that means you're fighting for us, and I'm more than happy to stand right next to you and arrested right with you, but you need to fucking fight. So, like, hopefully this trend continues, but it seems like this past week, a lot of representatives were, like, getting their shit, like, held to fire. Because they were like, okay, that's a non-answer. We're not accepting the non-answers anymore. You need to give us an answer or we're not going to support you anymore. Fuck off. People are tired, man. Governments are collapsing all over the world this past year. So, like, why not United States next? Germany's government collapsed, like, what, last month or some shit like that?
Did it?
From what I heard, yeah, Germany's government collapsed. They had to hold elections again. So,
wow. Do you think these are going to change anything?
I think they have to.
Or what?
Or look, I don't like being a fatalist individual. I've always in the past been like, look, it sucks, you know, different ideas in there. I don't agree with everything, but you know, we just got to fight harder and vote better in the future. Yada yada yada. This is kind of the first. This is the first time in our lives that it feels like we're kind of on the cusp of we got some choices we got to make. And history is going to judge us on those choices because, like, I think we're at, like, a fork in the road between where destiny takes us. If we accept everything and we don't say anything and we don't fight our hardest and we don't, like, I'm going to say we might have to fucking, like, riot. Unfortunately, it might be like it happened around the same time in the Star Trek universe. The Bell riots happened around
The Bell
same,
riots were last year.
but I'm saying around the same time.
I get you.
So like that might have to be something we have to do in the future. But like if we don't fight our hardest, it's not like other countries have gone fascist before. It's not like America's immune to just because we call ourselves a democracy or representative democracy does not mean we're immune to the fascist potential future.
We're a democratic republic.
Exactly. So it doesn't, but that doesn't mean we're not immune to it. We absolutely can fall into that Germany-esque kind of thing that they fell into 80 years ago.
I just have, I disagree because I'm very cynical now at this point. So here at a local level, because I'm involved with our county party, and I'll throw them under the bus. I don't give a shit. Last week, they organized a protest, and I was invited, and it was, they got together, they made signs, and they called the Youngstown cable news network, or not cable news, the local news channel, and the local newspaper, and they drove to the county courthouse, and they marched and chanted 5 laps around the courthouse, and they did stories with them. All 50 people who showed up.
Yeah.
And they did
We're a small area,
They
too.
did that. I know. I'm saying. I'm not saying 50 is a bad number. I'm just saying they did it again. They protested Elon Musk.
Yeah.
I said, hey, he's an unelected official. He's closing down all these government agencies. People are losing their jobs, especially in our area. The mines, they're closing those down.
Yeah.
So that's what they protested about last week. This week they did another one. Same thing. Same people showed up, new signs, different chants, in the same place, and they're protesting the closing of the Department of Education.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, okay, those are fine. But what are those really going to change? Are they going to change anything? No. You know what changes things? Elections. Having elections have consequences. And we're seeing that now. We're seeing that. Right now, we are in the petition phase of a local election race that will be happening. Why aren't these people, instead of marching around courthouses, going out and knocking doors, making phone calls, finding candidates to put on the ballot in these local races? School board, township supervisors.
I think they are. I think they are doing.
They're not, dude.
I got a text like a couple weeks ago saying like, "Hey, we're looking for people who want to run
Yeah.
for something." Like
We are.
yeah, like they're doing that. They're doing both.
They're not doing. These people who are marching.
Maybe
Adam,
they're
these
not
people,
knocking
they're not
doors.
doing it. They're not doing. it.
Maybe okay, those specific people, maybe not.
They think I sent out postcards. I marched around the courthouse. How could the election turn out this way? Because you didn't do enough. Postcards and marching with funny signs are not going to win elections.
I wholeheartedly agree that the fact that the Democratic Party needs to get their shit together. I'm not gonna sit here and say it's not, but to say that protests, well, like, what are they really gonna do? First of all, the biggest thing they need to change is they need to stop having these protests in the middle of the fucking week. Like, most people, not everybody, but most people, they're at fucking work during that time. They're having a lot of these protests. Like, they had that big protest whenever they were like, everybody gathered to your state's capital for that big one massive protest. It was the middle of a fucking Wednesday.
No, it was it was on President's Day. It was a Monday.
No, it was before that. There was one before that.
Oh, I didn't know about that one.
There was one before that where they organized like massive protests at every single. The goal was for the Washington D.C. But
I wasn't off
actually
on
the goal
Monday.
was it was specifically about we heard about Harrisburg. There was massive protests, and then I found out later on that there was a lot of other states that also organized the same thing. But it was in the middle of the fucking week, is what it was. Like when everybody was working.
I don't know about that
And there
one.
was-
I don't know what you're talking about. But the big one that was in Harrisburg that I know
Like this
about
past week?
was on President's Day.
This past week you're
was
talking?
in the middle of the day on a Monday because it was President's Day. It wasn't.
Yeah,
this week, it
I'm
was the
talking
week
like
before.
3-4 weeks ago. There was another.
Okay,
one.
well, I didn't know anything about that one, but I'm telling you about the one that I know about. I couldn't do it because, like you said, it's the middle of a weekday. but it's a holiday, so a lot of people were off. Not me. I wasn't off. Were you off on President's Day?
No.
Exactly.
I don't think I've ever had a President's Day off.
I don't know if I have, like, since school, really.
Yeah. That's a whole side thing, but that's my biggest beef whenever people are talking about, like, oh, President's Day and everybody's got it off, or, you know, if you're where you probably have it off, or like Martin Luther King Jr., you probably have it off, blah, blah. The banks might have it off, but the banks aren't everybody. Sorry.
Right. The post office might have it off. The banks might have it off.
We might be losing the post office soon. Who knows?
Yeah.
So.
And here's the thing. That guy who's the Postmaster General, that DeJoy or whatever his name is, he sucks. He's awful. I think he was appointed by Trump the first time around.
I don't know about the first time around. No, I don't know that.
No. He's been there a long time.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was either Trump or Bush. Might have been Bush. Like, he's been there a long time. And he's just not good. When Trump was in there the last time, it was for the 2020 election. He tried to purposely slow the mail down because of mail-in voting.
Yeah.
If you remember this. Didn't work because mail-in voting still sunk him. But I said when Biden got elected, he needs to get rid of DeJoy. And I said this to people. And they're like, well, he can't because the Postmaster General is appointed by the governing board of governors. And there was like all kinds of excuses. Now Trump's in there and he's like, I'm just going to get rid of him because I just do what I want. And I'm like, so you mean to tell me Biden could have just done what he wanted and got rid of him?
I mean, you could do what you want when you... It's again a Democratic problem where this is another thing. I used to pride myself on this, and now I'm kind of like pulling against it, where it's like it's time for the Democrats to stop playing by the rule book now.
And people,
I'm
like,
sorry.
Here's the funny thing.
I'm sorry. It's time.
I wanted DeJoy gone because he sucks, and I wanted him replaced with someone much better. So when I hear like Trump's going to get rid of DeJoy, I should be like thankful, right? But you hear what Trump said, right? He's going to fire DeJoy, and he's going to take it over. And I'm like, no, keep him in there. Keep him right there.
We don't need something else bankrupting.
Elon and I got it.
Like, the argument is like the post office isn't profitable. It's like, it's not supposed to be.
It's a service.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be profitable.
It's a public service. It's not supposed to. It's not. That's not what it was created for. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. They don't know what it is.
They don't know what a lot of things are. They didn't know. They're freaking out about 150-year-olds getting Social Security money and stuff like that because one of the things Doge, one of they released is that they combed through some of the databases and they found that there was people who were 150 years old plus and that were on the Social Security list and everything like that. And so they assumed they must. There's no proof that they got money since they're on the list. They're assuming that they were sent money, and so they're like, see, there's corruption, money's getting stolen right out of Social Security and everything like that. And then you got like programmers who like have learned about like the systems of the government, who have worked in government, who are like, let me tell you about a little programming language called COBOL. COBOL is old as dirt. All right. It is not, first of all, from everything I've heard about anybody that works in the government, whenever they talk about like the systems and like the databases and everything, it's all held together by like duct tape and string. Like, they haven't updated like a lot of shit in a long time because it costs time and money and they don't want to fucking spend that. But like, this programming language, basically what it was doing was, if there's like no birth date available, like if the system, they didn't input a birth date, they set a default. That's all it was. It's not like there's people that are getting money. It's not like there's widespread corruption that money's getting taken out of Social Security. Like, they're not in the system because somebody's trying to like keep them there as like a scapegoat so they can funnel money out. It's just the system defaulted their age because they don't have like, no age was entered for them. And it's fucking crazy. And they have people telling them, it's like, no, okay, I work at programming, like this is what's going on. They're like, no, it's corruption. He saved us $4 trillion in corruption money so far, and he's going to send us all $5,000 checks in the mail.
Why you do this to me?
Because you got
every time I come here, you start bringing up this stuff. And I get sad.
I didn't bring it up. You brought it.
What did I bring up?
You brought up politics this time because you started talking about hockey. You brought it up.
Hockey's a sport.
And then you started veering into politics.
Damn it! I want my hockey cleaned. Hey.
Oh, the screen turned off. That's my bad. Hold on. I gotta I got a tablet here. I typically
gotta
remember
hit
to
the
do
buttons.
this. I typically remember. No, it's because I have the thing set to where the screen turns off. Hold on. Shut up. I got shit.
Well, we're having a rough night.
It's fine. There. Here's your little toy. Be happy.
Thank you.
Here's your little
No,
toy.
it's passed, so now I gotta wait for the next one.
You gotta wait for the next one. I got
You called down the thunder, well now you got
I had to improvise.
I got one more maggot thing.
Oh God.
Another thing. Did you know what you know what Trump built on the front house of the the lawn of the White House? You know what he built? You know what he put there, Scott?
A golf course?
He put a 200-foot statue of Jesus Christ.
Did he really do that? I heard there was talk of him doing that.
I got pictures.
Oh, let's see.
I have a picture. So here is if you are watching the video portion of the podcast, right here I got a picture. I'm gonna pull it up on the screen.
Oh,
I might have
please-
to pull it up for
please be
us
Buddy
on like
Christ.
another thing. That's it.
Fictional characters.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at
Are you
Jesus
for
Christ.
real?
Look at Jesus Christ.
Look at that thing.
Yeah.
It looks like the Christ the Redeemer in Brazil.
I can pull it up bigger for us, possibly.
Oh, that made it smaller.
I'm trying to let me zoom it in. See, I try to do shit on the fly and it doesn't work out. There it is.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Is he's getting ready to do the Elon salute. Like looks like he's like
Yeah. he's ready. He's ready for it. Like look at that. He has constructed a 200-foot Jesus on the White House lawn.
Did
Scott.
we pay for that?
Scott,
Did our tax dollars pay for that? Where's Doge when you need him?
nobody paid for that. Do you want to know why?
Why?
Because it's not real.
Ah, it's not real.
It
Thank
didn't
God.
happen. It
Thank
didn't
God.
happen. But
You
it
had
didn't,
pictures. How was I supposed
it
to?
didn't stop all the maggers out there from getting on TikTok and getting on YouTube and
Sweet
Twitter.
Christ, you
and
had me
saying,
going.
And saying, did you see what our God King did today? Oh, he brought Jesus back to the White House. All that.
No stairway. Denied.
You doing one thing and one thing only.
So
The Nazis.
I did see something about that, but then I heard that it wasn't going up.
I want you to know I was going to put a picture together with Buddy Christ. I just didn't have time to.
Oh my God!
I
If it
was
would've been-
gonna. I was
If it
gonna
was
do
going to
that.
be Buddy Christ, I would have known it was fake. But
I was gonna put that
I
together.
think you
just
used Christ
didn't
the
have
Redeemer
time.
from Brazil.
I didn't. No, I didn't do that.
Oh, you
That's
didn't
the
make that?
picture that's
Okay.
going around.
It looks a lot like Christ the Redeemer.
Probably because it fucking is.
It probably
I
is. Yeah.
imagine.
Okay. I'm like, oh, that looks like the one in Brazil.
Where do you think you got the idea from?
Yeah. So that's not a thing. That's
No.
fake news.
Yeah, but it's okay.
But you know what? You had me going because I wouldn't put it past him.
he did instill. We talked about before. He did still instill a office of faith in the White House with that stupid bitch that like spoke in tongues. Remember that? Like,
Oh, her.
yeah, she's running it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh.
Are we great again yet? Can that asteroid that's supposed to hit in less than a decade come a little sooner, please? Maybe.
It's gonna miss us. You know it's
the
gonna miss
percentage
us.
went up. The chances went up again. They went up.
It's gonna miss us.
Look. This is asteroid watch. Okay. I'm gonna bring you anytime news change that motherfucker. I'm gonna bring it.
I
right
want to
here.
talk about space.
You talk
I
about
don't
space?
want to talk about maggers. I want to talk about space.
I got some space stuff for you.
Can you tell me what the percentage is?
Right now for that asteroid,
Yeah.
I think it's like 3.1% now.
Oh,
It's
you're
gone up.
telling me there's a chance.
It's gone up. Yeah, it's gone up. All right. So I'm gonna talk about space real quick. So I got a space story, Scott.
I love space.
What do you think about aliens? What do you know about aliens?
I've never met one that I know of.
But you have heard of me. So you know nothing about aliens. Okay. So there was an incident, and I believe it was at the Miami Mall. I think it was last year.
I remember
happened.
this.
Yeah.
I remember
So
the police came in and there was reports of like 7-foot tall beings walking through
I
the Miami.
got video right here for you. This is the police reaction right here. I'm pulling it
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
All the police. It keeps going. This is like an official news story that we're watching real quick. It's going to cut to like a massive amounts of police. You're going to see a
Yeah, it's like an
redonkulous
aerial view.
amount. Yeah, there it is.
There, the aerial view. And look at that. That's every cop in South Beach.
Yeah. So the official story is that, you know, some kids, some hoodlums maybe, were running around with baseball bats, beating stuff in and just vandalizing and just being rowdy and obnoxious, and the police
Yeah, I
had to
remember when
come.
this happened last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if I told you, though, Scott? What if I told you that I have the story right here from an eyewitness account from what happened at the Miami Mall?
Okay. This is good
This is,
stuff. This is podcast work. Is that him? Is that the guy?
No, that's not the guy. No.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, we could end this. We're done with this video. So,
All right.
I found this on Reddit, where all true stories come from.
It's got to be true if it's on Reddit.
All true stories come from this. It's rather lengthy, but I'm going to get through it
All
quick.
right, I'll bear with you.
All right. Stop me if you have any questions or need to ask anything. Here it goes. I was at the Bayside Marketplace on New Year's Day. That's when this took place. To those who don't know, something unexplainable happened that night. Something that the authorities covered up and put off as teens starting a riot. While I wish that were the case, it's far from the truth. I don't know if putting this out there is the best idea, but I can't hold my tongue any longer. He's got to get it out there, Scott. Can't hold his tongue any longer.
It's really sitting there. You know, he
You
can't.
see, I'm a construction worker in the Miami area.
All right.
While I don't have any children of my own, I have a little sister who means the world to me. She's an honor student with straight A's who's about to go off to university. I spent my youth in trouble. She studied hard. And before she leaves, I want to do something nice for her. That evening when I got off work, I planned to go to the mall and buy her a nice handbag. Little did I know, something happened there that changed my life.
It didn't just change his day.
His life.
It didn't even just change his week, Adam. It changed his life.
We're talking
is
decades.
life-changing.
Decades.
Okay.
As I pulled into the parking lot, the moon shined bright in the sky. Cars are parked as far as the eye could see, though this was nothing new. People filled the floor, shopping and celebrating the new year with their friends. I wasn't much of a shopper, so I planned to grab a bag and go. I walked into the store and saw many purses they had in stock. Some wore price tags that climbed into the tens of thousands.
Right there. That like you could end the story there, and I'd be like, I'd grasp.
While I did admire my genius little sis, I didn't love her that much. Well, fuck you, dude. I could feel the eyes on me as I looked around. This place is usually for higher class people, but regardless, I found one that was within a reasonable price range. It was a white bag. It was white and had one of those famous designer names embroidered on it. It seemed perfect for a nice-looking young girl. I grabbed it and walked over to the register to pay. The preppy woman, descriptors, I love it, had a look in her eye like she was afraid to touch me. But it didn't matter. I was proud of my sister, and she deserved to be rewarded. After she bagged the purse, I was ready to leave. But that's when it happened. I saw people running in droves, Scott. Their faces filled with terror and shock.
Oh, no.
Not looking back, no matter what, I walked into the confusion to see what was going on. That's when I saw them. Strange, shadow-like creatures walking through the mall. There were about 5 of them, and they had to be at least 12 feet tall.
12 feet.
All slinking around like creatures from a sci-fi film.
Ooh. Can you describe this slinking, sir?
You're just kind of like going back and
Okay,
forth. Think like Slender Man, I guess. With a fight or flight response, I turned to join the crowd in running, dropping my sister's purse like it was yesterday's trash. But as I began running, one of those creatures towered above me. I stood frozen in terror. The entity looked on me with purple orb-like eyes. Very descriptive, you know.
Yeah.
He's painting a picture. Before I knew it, I began to float up in the air. The strange being lifted me high enough to match my eyes with it. The smog-like substance it seemed to be made of began flooding in my mouth and nose. I thought I was a goner, but oddly enough, I could still breathe. In my head, however, my mind began to playing my thoughts like a movie. From my childhood all the way to my adult years, all the good, all the bad, I relived every single moment.
I've heard there's drugs that you can take that do that. So.
I wonder if this clearly he was not on drugs. Clearly
not.
This is a counter of the, 5th kind or whatever. At first I thought my life was flashing before my eyes, but I soon realized that this being was watching me, learning everything it could, even going through my darkest and most vulnerable thoughts, like how I want to vote for Trump. After what seemed like forever, I was placed safely back on the ground. I then stood in shock as a smoky creature slinked away and disappeared.
The smoker?
The smoky creature.
Smoky creature.
Slinked away and
We're going to
disappeared.
call them smokers.
Yeah.
Like the villains from Waterworld.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, feeling violated and terrified, well, yeah, I'd check your booty hole, by this whole experience, Outside cop cars lined the streets in an unbelievable turnout. There was no doubt in my mind that they'd been preparing for war in an attempt to protect and drive these horrible creatures away. But sadly, I'd be sorely mistaken. As time passed, I began to hear them talking about a riot started, that a bunch of teenagers were throwing fireworks and fighting. I was naturally confused. There were never any rowdy kids. There weren't any fireworks either, just ungodly beings not from this world. Why were they trying to hide it? I would attempt to talk to several officers, but they didn't want to hear it. They all blew me off and looked at me like I was insane. So it just kind of continues on from there. He had to go see a therapist.
So user's name?
It is user Yohane66. Yohane.
Okay, well, I'm trying to think. He said he was a construction worker in the Miami-Dade area.
Yeah.
There's no way he's a white guy. Like, he's got to be Latino or Hispanic. Find me one white construction worker in the Miami-Dade County.
I'm sure they exist.
I'm sure they exist.
Maybe, they're unicorns, probably.
There are
sure
as many of them as there are the smoker aliens. I mean, there might be 5. I ain't buying this story for a minute.
Are you sure about that?
It's written
Scott.
too well. It's written too well.
You know what? Maybe the smoker aliens, gave him a greater sense of, drama. Maybe they gave him a greater sense of intelligence in order to tell the story well. You never know, Scott. These are otherworldly beings. Where's your imagination?
It just sounds too scripted. It sounds too fan fiction. It sounds too rehearsed.
Scott doesn't want to believe. He doesn't want to believe.
I want to believe, like Fox Mulder.
Not hard
I
enough,
do.
apparently.
I wanted to be more like the story from Saturday Night Live, the abduction story.
Oh yeah.
So there I was, completely pantsless, my giant beaver just flopping in the wind.
Yeah.
That was Kate McKinnon's character. That is great.
Those are good.
It's a good one.
Whoa, for real? In a giant light? They just kind of hovered over the house and just kicked me out.
Yeah, our stories are very different. That's when they flipped me over, and I thought to myself, well, here comes the probe.
And given the fact this third time, I realized this is the most successful relationship I've ever been in.
So you're buying the smoky aliens, huh?
I don't know if I'm buying. I'm open-minded, Scott. I'm open to things beyond my comprehension. All right, Scully.
Isn't Trump supposed to unlock the alien files along with like the JFK files and the Martin Luther King Jr. files? And
Oh, it's going to happen eventually, Scott. You just you wait on that one.
Is he going to unlock the Epstein files, or is that no?
We don't talk about the Epstein files.
He's not doing that because that one's going to get him.
We don't
some
talk
hot
about
water.
we don't talk about those.
Yeah.
We don't talk about those files. Scott,
Yeah.
game time.
Let's do it. I'm excited. Why don't you remind the folks what we've been doing the last couple weeks and
We've
what
been
we're
doing
doing?
a little bit of a bit, where we pick. It could be really anything. It could be a specific type of genre of type of character. It could be an actor. It could be like a type of movie or TV show, whatever. But we've been picking one type of thing, and we've been holding drafts.
We're
for them.
drafting it.
So, like the first one, we did vampire drafts, and we drafted on our team. 5 on each team. We draft our best vampires. Last one we did was our Dwayne Johnson draft.
We did. We drafted The Rock. We drafted Will Smith in there. What are we doing today?
We're doing Robin Williams.
We're doing Robin Williams characters.
The late, great Robin Williams.
Now, these aren't our teams are just that. It could be whatever.
Yes.
We're not going to fight each other. We're just going to pick our favorite teams.
I feel like there's got to be a goal, though, to it. There's always got to be a goal.
I just want to hang out with I just want guys that I think would be fun chills.
That sounds like a good football game, right? Get together and just hang out. Don't play.
It's just a football draft style, Adam.
You know,
It's not like it's just how they do the draft.
that sounds fun. Whenever a boxing match happens and they just get in there and just have coffee with each other and just chill out.
Not everything has to be a competition.
Coming from the dude who played sports his entire life and has been complaining for the past 2 months, I hate losing.
I just think
Just
we.
saying.
All right. So
I went first last time, so you have to go first this
Oh
time.
yes,
So you
yes,
get
yes,
first. You get
yes.
first dibs.
All right, so my first pick of the Robin Williams draft, I was thinking about it, and I'm like, should I be wise and should I think about who he wants to take and try to take who, like you did for me in the Will Smith draft? But then I thought about it, and I'm like, there's one person on this board who I want above all of them, and I got to get him. I can't risk you taking him. So with the first
You gotta
pick,
take who you want, man. You gotta take who you want.
with my first pick, taking Peter Banning from Hook.
That would be what I think you would take first. Yeah. He was definitely on my list, 100%.
Were you going to take him first?
Probably not.
Okay, well, I did. He plays Peter Banning from Hook. One of my favorite movies. It's in my top 15 all-time movies. It's a movie you don't want to watch with me because I will just recite every word. It is a movie from my childhood. I had all the action figures. Oh, man. I mean, what's more to say about Hook? Spielberg did it. I'm taking Peter Banning with my number one pick. Gotta get him off the floor. He's there. He's on top of my big board. I gotta get him.
All right. I think I'm gonna go. So when I made my list, I didn't do any particular order. My big list is just kind of like thrown about there, so I'm kind of doing it as I go. And I think I'm gonna go this guy. One of my favorite movies of all time. I need some style, Scott. I need somebody.
Don't you do it.
I need somebody who's got a sense of style and artisticness to him.
Don't you do it.
I need somebody who's going to bring a bit of flair into my life. I'm taking Armand Goldman from The Birdcage.
Madonna. Hello, Ace Career. When are you going to let me try out?
Nathan Lane, too?
Nathan Lane's so good in it. But guess what? He was my number 2.
Yeah.
He was my number 2.
That was my number
I should have. Okay. Hypothetically here, had I taken Armand 1, would you have taken Banning 2?
Probably not.
Damn.
Probably not. I love Hook, but I probably wouldn't have been my.
Birdcage is great.
It's so good.
Birdcage
One of the
so good.
funniest movies I've ever watched. So good.
All right, so you took my number 2, so I'm going to skip to my number 3 here. Another movie I love. I love this movie. I'm going to take Dr. Sean Maguire from Good Will Hunting.
Didn't make my list.
No, don't you like Good Will Hunting? Good Will Hunting's great.
I've only ever seen clips of that. I've never watched the entire movie all through. I know everything about the movie, and I've seen enough clips, but... What?
You didn't mark that on my top 200.
Was that on the 200?
Oh, yes.
I must have missed it then.
You're fucking with me.
I know everything about the movie. I've seen enough clips of that movie, and I've read about the movie, and I basically know everything about the movie. Because I know that, I just never sat down and watched the movie. So, but because I didn't watch the movie, I didn't put him on the list.
Do you like apples?
Applesauce,
Do you like apples? I got a number. How you like them apples? Our boy's wicked smart. I swallowed a bug. Okay.
I prefer applesauce, bitch.
That's not from the movie. That's from Good Will Hunting 2, hunting season. All right, your turn.
All right. You know what? I'm going to get into our territory a little bit.
You're going to do it, huh?
Get into our territory a little bit. I need somebody who, you're not getting any younger, sir. And God forbid something ever happens to you. I need a backup. I need a backup co-host for Distraction. I need this person. He's very charismatic. He's been in the biz for a while. I'm taking Adrian Cronair. Is that how you pronounce his last name? I can't remember. From Good Morning Vietnam.
Good morning, Vietnam.
I need a backup. Scott, basically.
Hey. Adam?
Yeah?
Never seen the movie.
Really?
Really?
That's fucking shocking.
Yeah, I know. Just haven't seen it. I know about it.
just add that to the list.
Okay, well, there we go. See, we learned things. We learned things about each other. So he was not on my big board because I had never seen the film.
That's fair. You know what? 2 in the row where they were not on our big board, so that's okay.
Okay. All right, I got you. I'm going to take this guy. Just going in order. When I can. With my third pick, I'm going to take Alan Parrish from Jumanji. I kind of love Jumanji, and I feel like I took Dwayne Johnson last time off of Jumanji, and now I'm taking Robin Williams off of Jumanji. I guess I'm a big Jumanji fan.
Sounds like you like that universe.
I really do. It's a lot of fun. But the original Jumanji came out like 95. I was a kid. I loved it when it came out. The CG of the animals is pretty terrible.
Yeah.
But the story's a lot of fun. And Robin Williams is really good in it. And that's why I'm taking Alan Parrish, my number 3 pick.
All right. Number 3. Thinking. I think I'm going to go with... I'm going to pull the trigger on this one. All right. Most of Robin Williams' characters are all jokers, funny men. But you know what? I need an actor. That's what I need. I need an actor. I need somebody who knows how to get inside somebody's head, knows how to lose himself in a role. I'm taking Daniel Hillard from Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh. I had Mrs. Doubtfire on my list. You did it.
I got it.
It was a drive-by fruiting.
That's a great movie. Hello. That's also a really good movie where things don't necessarily work out in the end. Like you wouldn't like a typical fairy tale. Like Robin Williams and his ex-wife, they don't get back together. You know, it's not one of those kind of things where, if that movie was made today, at the end of that movie, they would have ended it back together. They'd been remarried and they'd all learned a lesson. That's not how it works. They got divorced. There was a reason they got divorced. But you know what? At the end of the day, they made it work out. That's why one of the coolest things about that movie.
Okay. Well, let's see what I got here. I guess I'm going to go here. Going a little bit out of order. I'm going to take, just because I like this movie, I'm going to take John Keating from the Dead Poets Society. Oh, Captain, my Captain. I like it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's an inspirational film.
It is.
The Dead Poets Society.
It's a more serious role, too.
It's a very serious role, but he's still good in it. Yeah, I'm taking him. I'm going with that with my 4th pick.
Okay. I'm going to go with this. So, I got to instill a little bit of science. A little bit of science stuff. I got to bring it in. I got to bring some I like to take myself as a smart man. I need some smart cookies on my team. I'm going to take Oh my god. You ever sneeze and it feels really good afterwards? That's what that kind of sneeze that was. Apologies. I'm going to take Andrew, the Bicentennial Man.
Never seen it.
Really?
Really?
That's a somewhat more
Is he a
serious...
robot? Is he a robot?
Yes.
Okay, I can picture the VHS cover of that movie from walking around my video store and always looking at it, being intrigued, but never renting
That's
it.
one of those kind of movies where at the end of it you're like, oh, that's sad. And you kind of cry a little bit. Mm-hmm. But it's really good. I like it a lot.
Okay.
What was the other one that came out with the kid from Sixth Sense? What was that one? That came around, I think, around the same time. What was that?
AI, artificial
AI,
intelligence. Yeah, I saw that one. That Jude Law in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
I like that movie.
All right.
All right, with my last pick, I'm going to do it. This guy's still here. I'm surprised. I thought you would have taken this person and taken them early, but they're hanging out here, and it's one of his more classic roles. I'm going to take Genie from Aladdin.
He was going to be my last pick.
He's not anymore. He's my last pick. Genie from Aladdin. You got a friend in me, man. I mean, I'm taking him.
Wrong movie.
And I had a couple more on my list here hanging out, but I'm taking him.
All right. Well, since you took my last pick, what do I want to go with? I got a lot of choices here.
You still have a lot of choices?
I do.
I had 2 on my big board that didn't get drafted.
So this is tough now. This is tough. Who do I give the final roster seat to? Good Lord.
Can't have Gene.
You know, we also forgot. We forgot to do the draft chime. The entire time.
I did it.
No, you didn't.
I did it the first time.
I don't think you did.
Bet.
I'm not gonna bet but I don't remember ever hearing.
I did it the first time, but I haven't done it since because
Neither have I. Apologies.
we suck. We're having a rough night.
We're not worthy.
We're having a rough night.
Worthy. We suck.
No stairway. Denied.
All right, I'm just gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Patch Adams from Patch Adams.
Basic.
That movie's good. What are you talking about? Basic.
No, I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen the movie. Is he a clown?
He's a doctor who makes sick kids, sometimes terminally ill sick kids, like not feel depressed all the time, and comes in and
Wow.
jokes around with them so that they don't feel like the
Never
Grim
saw
Reaper
it.
is like wrapping his bony fingers around their necks.
Never saw it. I really have not seen a lot of Robin Williams movies. Apparently,
You gotta step your game up, dude.
I
Pump those numbers
guess
up.
I'm just an average fan. I guess I'm not a.
So, side note, I'm gonna say this right here, real quick. There was one person I put on here. It was a very interesting character. It was one of the first serious roles I saw with Robin Williams. That was 1 Hour Photo. You don't know that movie?
No, didn't see that one either.
It's a movie where he plays. Remember back in the day, whenever you used to take just film regular pictures with film, and you have to take them to like the
I'm
photo
40. I
place.
remember. Yes.
And so you have to take them to like the photo place, and they have to develop them, and then they give them back to you and all that stuff. He plays one of those guys, but he becomes obsessed with his one family that comes here all the time, to the point where he makes copies of their photos, and he like hangs them up in his house, and he like basically goes psycho and pretends, almost like thinks he's part of the family. Like it's one of the most serious roles I've ever seen him do.
So I'm really into Law and Order right now. I've been watching SVU in order. There's an episode where Robin Williams is the bad guy on Dick Wolf's.
I saw that on my IMDb whenever
You've
I was
seen that
looking
one
through
before? He's really good in it.
When I
I should have probably put that on here, but I didn't even think about it.
The name of the character in that movie, though, his name is Seymour Parrish. So I'm wondering if he's related to Alan Parrish.
Maybe. So I have 2 that didn't get drafted, but I feel like they were worth mentioning. So these guys didn't get drafted, but they were on my big board. I had Teddy Roosevelt from Night at the Museum.
I had him too, yeah.
I really like Night at the Museum a lot. But he's a secondary character.
I like him more than I like the actual movie. The movie's just okay.
No, the movie's great.
It's okay. It's okay.
I think you're wrong. I think that's a
I'm right.
spectacular movie.
I think it's okay.
It's because you don't know history. You didn't even know there was battles in America. I also had
Time will tell on that
Listen
one.
to this one. I had Batty from Fern Gully.
I had that too.
How good is Fern Gully?
It's pretty good, yeah.
It was the prequel to Avatar, right?
But like the best parts are with Tim Curry. Those are the best parts.
Hexus?
Yeah.
He's so good in it too.
I had Jack from the movie Jack. You ever see that one?
Never saw it.
That's a movie about this kid that gets born, but his internal time clock is sped up. So by the time he's 10, he looks 40. Hence
So
why
like
Robin
opposite Benjamin Button?
he speed ages is what he does. So like when he's 10, he looks like 40, aka why Robin Williams played him. And then when he like went to college, they put Robin Williams in like old man makeup, and he basically had a sped up time clock.
I
Which I don't think is a real thing. I don't know if that's a real thing. I've never heard of it outside of that. I also had Flubber.
Oh, Flubber. I've seen that. That's good.
That's fun.
That's a good one. I didn't think about that movie.
I did put this on here, but I didn't think it was going to make it. What Dreams May Come. Remember
Ew.
that?
Yeah, I saw that. That movie's a turd.
I think it's not as bad as you think it is.
That movie's not good. I
think
remember hating that movie.
When did you watch it?
I watched it with my mom.
There's your first mistake right there.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? What? I watched it with my mom, but I was older. I was like high school, I think. I was older. The movie.
Well, you said it
yourself. Rented it.
You said it yourself. You were only interested in chasing women and partying back then. So
Hey,
like,
I was into movies.
but not this artsy kind of movies.
I kind of was.
I bet not.
I remember
I
really
bet
liking some
not.
obscure movies when I was in high school. I remember really liking some weird movies that nobody knew. Like, I really liked Casablanca and, like, Cool Hand Luke and, like, some really weird ones that people are like, what? Why aren't you watching Spider-Man or X-Men? I'm like, well, I watched those too, but I don't know. I was insufferable.
That was our list. I felt like it was a little less fun than past lists, honestly.
I didn't see a lot of these movies. I think it's on me.
I felt
Shit.
like because we had some disconnect, you know, this is a mild draft, I'd say. But again, it's Robin Williams. Like, he's mostly a funny man, and that's mostly what he does.
He's a comedian first.
Yes, and that's fine.
I'm disappointed in myself. I didn't realize there's a lot of these movies.
Scott, I'm disappointed in you
saw.
too. So you know, it comes for full circle. Score cinema time, Scott. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Another
Adam,
artsy movie.
I did make you watch an artsy movie,
You did.
but it's an artsy movie I kind of like. I don't love this movie, but I was having a really, really hard time last week finding a movie to watch with you. It's by a director who I think we both really love, but this movie in particular is not one of my favorites by this guy.
No.
But the fact that you had never seen it alone, like, let alone, was a reason to watch it. We watched Isle of Dogs by Wes Anderson.
We did. It's a stop motion.
It's animated,
stop motion style animation kind of styled movie about in Japan, basically, like in Tokyo, they've outlawed dogs because of this like weird disease that dogs have, and they sent them to this like trash island basically. And it's about this little boy who has like a protector dog who got taken away, and so he journeys to this island to try to save him. But like the unique part of this movie is all the humans talk basically in Japanese, with the exception of like one or two characters you hear like singing and stuff. But like they don't put it in subtitles either. So unless you speak Japanese, you're basically like just watching this based off.
You're watching
of,
this like you're a dog because you don't know what they're saying.
Yeah,
But you can understand the dogs.
You're just trying to like get context from like what's going on basically, and then you understand all the dogs, and it has all the big name actors: Edward Norton, Bill Murray, ScarJo's in it,
Jeff Goldblum. All of the pretty
Bryan
much
Cranston
everybody
is in it. He voices
Bryan
a dog.
Cranston was great in it too.
Yeah, he was really good.
It's pretty much anybody you would think's in a Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah, they're in it basically. I thought it was really good. It was really good. I don't know why I never watched it before last week, but I thought it was just kind of like it's your typical Wes Anderson artsy, quirky
I
style
like the
kind of
quirkiness
stuff
of
like
him,
that.
though.
Like
I
it's
do.
very unique.
I dig Wes Anderson, man.
He's one of the few filmmakers that I will say is an actual like artist with his films, because he doesn't somehow he keeps making more movies, but he's not placating to like mainstream sort of stuff. Like he's not making like nobody's gonna task Wes Anderson to make a Marvel movie. But like people still trusting him with like making movies because people love the weird quirkiness. It's a quirky movie. It's weird. It's kind of crazy, and it's very stylistic. That's something you can say. Say about Wes Anderson movies is very stylistic.
Very indie.
Yes, I enjoyed it a lot.
I'm
we had
glad.
fun. I think we had fun.
We
watching
did
it
have fun watching it together.
Yes.
Even if there was times that we made fun of it together.
Yeah.
That's kind of what Course of Cinema is about. Like I said to you, I love Royal Tenenbaums.
Yeah,
I love Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. I even love Rushmore. This is not on the level of those movies.
no,
But I do like it. I like it better than some of the... It's just quintessential and Wes Anderson.
It is.
You know? And that's... I dig that.
it's
I
one of those
totally
kind of
dig
movies
it.
where like he puts out so few movies sometimes. Where like any Wes Anderson, you're like, all right, I'll dig into that. Screw it, why not?
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I did. I did enjoy it.
See, I've had other movies where I showed them to you, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna love this movie, and you're like, yeah, I didn't like it at all. And I've had other movies like this where I'm like, I don't know if he's gonna like it. You're like, oh, I liked it.
I think
so. You're a wild card.
I think
you're a wild
the
card. Man.
enhancement for me is when we watch it together. I think that's what kind of enhances a lot of these movies for me a little bit.
us changing the format, of course, of cinema has definitely helped.
Like, I didn't get off work from like a shitty day, and I'm like, all right, you know what? I guess I'll watch.
I
this
got to
course
do
of
my
cinema.
homework.
I got to watch this course of cinema. I'm watching it. It's like, oh, that fucking person I talked to earlier today. I didn't like. We're having fun doing the podcast, and they're like, hey, let's watch a movie.
Yeah, word.
Word to
All right,
your
hey,
mother.
what are we gonna watch for next week?
Scott, we're gonna watch a movie that is not streaming currently on any streaming service I have, because I was shocked that you did not see this movie. I think we're gonna have a little fun watching this movie. We're gonna watch Get Smart, starring Dwayne Johnson and Steve Carell.
I've never seen it.
You've not seen it? I have the DVD.
Oh,
We're gonna go classic style. We're gonna watch the DVD. I apologize to anybody who has all the streaming stuff. If you have never seen it, I encourage you rent it on Prime Video. It might be like $3 or something like that. I don't know. Like, I encourage you to do that. It might be on Netflix. I don't know. I don't have Netflix, so I couldn't check. But it wasn't on any other streaming that I could find. If you have a streaming that you know about that is streaming, let us know. But we're gonna watch it on DVD. We're gonna watch Get Smart tonight. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna enjoy it. It's goofy. Let's do it.
let's do it.
Let's do it.
Adam,
Let's do it.
why don't you let the folks know how they can get a hold of us, how they can listen or watch our show in the future?
If you're watching the live stream, clearly you know everything, so I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the post listeners. Email us, fordistraction@gmail.com. We are on Facebook, currently still on Twitter, and yes, it is Twitter. Search For Distraction at Podcast FYD. We upload the audio to not SoundCloud anymore, Podbean. You could also find us on Spotify, iTunes. You should still be able to find us on Google Play Store. Pretty much anywhere you get your audio podcast, search For Distraction. If you can't find us on there, let us know, and I will endeavor to put us on there, figure out why it's not working. We do our live streaming for our shows every Saturday night. Well, every night we podcast, not every Saturday night. So if you are subscribed to us on the Facebook, you should get a notification when I will post the link to the YouTube, because we are doing YouTube lives now, not Facebook anymore, because fuck you, Mark Zuckerberg. Is this the one?
You call down the thunder.
Nope, that's the one, because he does that.
Work the shaft. Work the pipe.
He did that to Trump.
Swallow the gravy. Get it over here, buddy. Let's do this.
And because he did that to Trump, I can no longer respect him, so we will not live stream on Facebook anymore. But I will share it to Facebook on our YouTube channel. That is when we do our live streaming. We will also post the video afterwards, a clean-cut, edited version that takes off trims the ends. We also do extra shows, Patreon shows.
That's the one.
Links to everything, by the way, is in the description of the show if you're watching the live stream. They should be in the description of every single episode, audio and video format, as well as on all our other social medias. So you can go to patreon.com/fordistraction, and you can listen to some bonus shows, stuff. Right now it's leaning a little heavily toward politics, but we do talk about other things on there, some fun stuff. So you can head over there. It's $1 a month, 4 quarters, not too much. If you want just a little extra. Every penny that goes to the show that you spend on there, we put towards improving the show. We want to put some background stuff up here. We want to kind of brighten the room up a little bit. We want to improve things as much as we can. So if you want to head over there and subscribe to the Patreon, I would be more than happy. Scott,
Adam,
how we doing? It's kind of like
doing okay.
It's kind of like a mellow episode. It's very mellow.
Yeah, it didn't go where I thought it was going to go. I don't know.
I think we're co-pilots. You can steer us where you want us to go too, as well.
I did a little bit.
You can steer us. I got no problem with you taking the controls, and I just kind of put my hands behind my head and just let you take the wheel.
I watched a lot
Scotty,
of
take
movies.
the wheel.
I tried to steer clear of the politics, but you
brought us into it.
You keep saying that.
You did. It started with the
talked
hockey.
about hockey.
Yes, and you
That's not politics.
and you started talking about how Trump was all getting into like, oh look, America's gonna beat Canada, blah blah blah, and you were getting all the Canadians were booing the.
They were. That's part of the story.
And you were saying like, is it bad?
I just wanted to know.
Is it bad for me to root for?
Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for rooting against my home country? And kind of giving a half smile.
Let me ask you something.
When they were booing the national anthem.
What is your reason for booing the United States? What is your reason?
Donald Trump.
Yes. So you brought us into politics. That's on you, son. That's Sonny Jim. I'm gonna die now.
You're dying over here.
I'm gonna die. We're done. We're done.